Have you ever looked at your handwriting and wondered, what secrets are you hiding, you squiggly little enigma? No? Well, maybe it's time you did. Handwriting isn't just a tool for grocery lists or passive-aggressively written office fridge notes, it's a mirror to your personality. In fact, the loops, slants, and spacing in your scribbles might just reveal more about you than your last Instagram post. Welcome to the mysterious, somewhat quirky world of handwriting analysis, where your eye dots and key bars are spilling the psychological tea. Let's dive into what your handwriting might be saying about you behind your back. Size does matter, at least in handwriting. First things first, how big is your handwriting? If your letters are so large they could be seen from a passing plane, you're likely someone who craves connection and attention. You might be the life of the party, or at least the one who texts in all caps. Big handwriting suggests you're people-oriented, extroverted, and not afraid to claim your space literally. On the flip side, if your handwriting is small enough to be mistaken for microscopic bacteria under a lab scope, you're probably more reserved. Tiny writing often indicates that you're introspective, focused, and meticulous. Basically, you're the kind of person who reads the fine print and maybe writes it too. If your handwriting is medium-sized, congratulations. You are the Goldilocks of the handwriting world, balanced, adaptable, and not trying too hard. You may not stand out in a crowd, but you sure know how to blend in beautifully. Mind the gap. Word spacing, it's not just about avoiding a cramped notebook or making your writing legible. It can actually reflect how close you want others to get to you emotionally, not just physically. When you space your words out like you're practicing social distancing on paper, it often suggests a love for freedom and independence. You're the lone wolf, the solo traveler, the one who needs a 5-foot bubble of peace at family gatherings. You enjoy your own company, and your handwriting respects that boundary with every generous gap. In contrast, narrow word spacing could mean you're a people magnet, someone who thrives on companionship, meaningful conversations, and text messages that begin with, "We need to talk." This closeness in your handwriting mirrors your emotional closeness. You're the type who doesn't mind being squished on a couch during movie night and probably uses emojis excessively just to keep the chat cozy. Backing this up, a study conducted by the National Pen Company found that individuals who leave wider spaces between their words tend to be more independent and freedom-loving, whereas those who write with tightly packed words often crave connection and prefer to keep others emotionally and sometimes physically close. The next time you write a note or a love letter, observe how your words space themselves. They might be throwing major shade or signals about your social life without you realizing it. The direction of your letters. The slant of your handwriting isn't just a matter of aesthetics, it's practically a psychological profile in italics. That tiny tilt to the left or right can reveal how you emotionally navigate the world around you. A rightward slant, where your letters lean like they're whispering secrets to the person next to them, often signifies a warm, expressive, and sociable personality. These are the folks who respond yes to parties without even knowing what the event is. They're emotionally open, connect easily, and might cry during insurance commercials. On the other hand, a leftward slant is more like a polite no thank you to excessive emotional display. Reserved, introspective, and possibly fans of late-night journaling, these writers prefer to observe rather than participate in dramatic social scenes. They keep their cards close and their handwriting closer. If their letters were a person, they'd be the ones sitting at the edge of the party petting the dog. And then there are the vertical letter warriors, the emotionally controlled logical thinkers, who likely alphabetize their spices and read terms and conditions just for fun. No slant at all often reflects a person who's guided by reason over emotion, keeping their decisions as steady as their pen strokes. They're Switzerland in emotional debates, neutral, fair, and very unlikely to yell at anyone in a group chat. Attention to detail and imagination. The way you dot your I's can offer clues about your attention to detail and creativity. Placing the dot directly above the I suggests a meticulous, organized individual. A high dot may indicate a great imagination and a visionary mindset. Using a circle instead of a dot can reflect a playful, artistic personality, while a slash might suggest self-criticism and impatience. These small nuances in handwriting can reveal significant aspects of one's character. For example, An artist might naturally embellish their eyes with circles, while a strict editor might ensure each dot is perfectly placed. It's fascinating how such a tiny mark can speak volumes about us. Determination and self-esteem. Crossing your T might seem like a finishing touch, but in reality, it's the psychological cherry on top. If your T-bar is soaring high across the top, it's not just showboating, it reflects ambition, self-confidence, and an eye for the stars. You probably set big goals, dream and vision boards. A cross in the middle of the T is the sweet spot for confidence. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone, you just are who you are. You know your worth and probably don't sweat the small stuff. Now, long T-bars are a different breed. If your cross looks like it could double as a fencing foil, you're enthusiastic, determined, and maybe a tad stubborn. People with this kind of stroke often chase goals with tireless energy, but might also be the type to argue with a GPS. Meanwhile, short crosses might suggest a lack of persistence, a tendency to give up too quickly, or perhaps just someone who writes like they're running out of ink. You might set goals but struggle with follow-through. But hey, realizing that is the first step, then you can work on it. With a longer crossbar, perhaps. Graphologists and behavioral analysts agree that the T-cross is one of the most telling indicators of a person's drive. Entrepreneurs, leaders, and type of personalities tend to have firm, confident crosses like their handwriting is kicking the letter into shape. Your outlook on life. Margins. The invisible boundaries we draw before we even know we're drawing them. These blank spaces aren't just for hole punches and doodles, they are quiet reflections of your mental landscape. A wide left margin? That usually means you're eager to leave the past behind. You are forward-thinking, progressive, and maybe just a little allergic to nostalgia. New year, new me isn't just a phrase, it's a lifestyle. A narrow left margin suggests you carry your history with you like a well-worn backpack. You might be reflective, rooted in your experiences, and possibly the family historian. You remember every lesson, every heartbreak, and you are not about to forget where you came from, even if you do forget your keys sometimes. Switching sides, a wide right margin might mean you're cautious about what's ahead. You tread carefully, plan thoroughly, and may have a backup plan for your backup plan. You don't like surprises unless it's cake. That's a universal exception. Narrow right margins? You're sprinting into the future with your arms wide open. These writers embrace change, jump into opportunities, and are always the first to say yes to something new. Risk takers, dreamers, or simply impatient folks who ran out of paper. Experts in cognitive psychology suggest that page layout tendencies can align with emotional processing. The space you leave is not just functional, it's metaphorical. So if you have always written halfway off the page, maybe you're not messy, you're just philosophically resistant to boundaries. And there you have it. Your handwriting has officially spilled the beans on your personality. If you enjoyed diving into the wonderfully weird world of graphology, give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep writing, keep wondering.